Now, some schools have interpreted this with a focus on the British part and have sought to fulfil the requirement by devoting a day to eating fish and chips and learning about the royal family. But I think that a much more important part of this policy is that it's asking schools to teach values to children. Now, the chances are is that you'd be happy enough to have your child taught the value of tolerance and liberty. But these are distinctively liberal values, and not everybody agrees with them. A parent might, for example, value submission and obedience to God's law more highly than they do freedom of choice. And imagine as a parent, how would you feel if your child was being taught values that you don't actually agree with? This is a particular problem for liberals because of what liberals value. So if you value freedom of choice, then surely parents should have the freedom to choose what values their child is taught. And if you value tolerance, then surely we should be tolerant of illiberal views. Some would say that if schools take up this policy, then it would be to indoctrinate children into liberalism, and a clear example of liberal hypocrisy. So should schools be completely neutral and not teach any values at all? My research seeks to answer this challenge by looking at whether we can provide public reasons for teaching these values. And by public reasons, I mean reasons that are neutral in the sense that the justification doesn't rely on controversial views. So, for example, we all value different lives, but a necessary backdrop of living these lives is that we live in a peaceful society, and so that could be a public justification of teaching tolerance. If it does turn out that we should be teaching tolerance, then there's a further question about how we teach this in schools. And I know from my past experience of 8 years teaching philosophy and religious studies that we run into constant controversy over what to teach as the limits of tolerance. So to give just one example, when I was teaching conservative religious viewpoints on homosexuality, should I present that as a valid viewpoint and be intolerant of homosexuals? Or should I present it as an unacceptable point of view and be intolerant of the religious point of view? So my research also looks at what tolerance is and how we should be teaching it in schools. And the ultimate aim of my research is to provide some clear guidance on how to interpret this British values policy for schools so that they know how to put it into practice. For it seems to me absolutely crucial that we have a clear and justifiable vision of how to educate the citizens of tomorrow.